S-U-A-N-D-R-Z-E-J. Last name Suda, S-U-D-A. Perhaps you can just Google my name and this website and my documentation will pop up.
You said, I believe I read some of your story, and you said you were anti-communist, and you were trying to expose the truth, and you wanted to help the United States. Is that what you were trying to help the United States because there were people on the outside trying to hurt the United States, like terrorists, maybe?
Well, no, I wouldn't call it terrorist. When I came to United States, of course, the reason coming here was my hope that this is normal country, fine, normal country, and normal living conditions, and I may become a part of this country. Of course, I was mistaken, but in that moment, I was doing everything the best to be on your side, and when I discovered that I became, without my knowledge, a part of this team working against this country, on spying and on criminal level as well, I immediately went to American law enforcement and informed about it and offered my cooperation. And all of these agencies, except perhaps FBI behaved bad from the very beginning. But most of these agencies worked with me in the beginning, and they were very excited about evidence I had, and we were making progress. But nevertheless, sooner or later, somebody came and strong-armed them and asked them to leave me alone, put everything under the blanket, and forget about it. Going from agency to agency and finally complaining about FBI betrayal, I ended up visiting Office of Inspector General of United States Department of Justice. This is the highest law enforcement agency in the United States. This agency was also very excited because I had so much evidence. And with their help, we found a hard evidence of FBI betraying me, committing treason, and cooperating with Polish intelligence. Well, it took about 2 months, but finally the investigator from OIG in San Diego, Mr. Ralph Page, was suddenly transferred to San Francisco, and OIG stopped talking to me. And that's the end of the story.
But it was the beginning of your hell. You said that your life is a living hell. What are they doing to you right now?
Like most of victims, it's not only one level of harassment or torture. It's basically everything. If you were not a victim, by yourself, you would also probably suspect you're being crazy. But you know how it is.
Right.
You have bad luck all day long. You wake up, you go to your car doesn't start. Mm-hmm. You go to the mechanic, it's getting worse. Let's say you drive, you have an accident has been staged. You go to police, call police because there was an accident and you don't want to be guilty that you ran away from it. Police doesn't want to file police report. You have to go through legal procedures to force police department to do their job because everything was staged from the beginning and they don't want evidence of it. You go to the store, people are harassing you. You go to find a job, everything is fantastic. You work hard, 2-3 days later, you are getting accused of stealing something, or somebody harasses you at work, you lose your job. And so on, so on, so on.
Do you have home invasion? Have you been assaulted on the street?
I haven't been assaulted on the street. I don't know, maybe I'm a tough guy. But yes, visits, yes. I have to admit that it was my good luck when my evidence, part of my evidence, disappeared from my house, and there was no sign of any burglary break to my house. I panicked, and I started to recover copies of my evidence from other victims, because I was smart enough to send out copies of my documentation to different people around the globe. When I was able to finally collect back all my evidence with help of those people, I decided that I will not stop until I publish my case. It was kind of motivational thing. So that's how I ended up on this Italian website, because finally my hard work paid. I found people who were interested and believed in my case.
How are you working now? Because many targets are driven into financial destitution and job loss.
Yes, I'm working only because I'm self-employed.
And what do you do?
I'm doing regular painting.
Okay.
But with the college I finished, it was about art. I have a degree in art. And before harassment started, I had successful business in restoring churches and decorating, villas of rich people, and in gilding and putting faux finishes and so on. If people, to prove to people, please look up on internet. There's my website. It's called oldeuropeaninteriors.com. In one word, oldeuropeaninteriors.com. That's my website. That's me. That's what I was doing. But of course, when harassment started and progressed, in certain moment there was no more orders from rich people and from churches, because this kind of people is very easy to persuade to forget about Mr. Suda and his problems. So finally I ended up being a regular painter, painting houses in San Diego and around San Diego. And this works more or less up and down. I'm surviving. Nevertheless, there were many attempts to even prevent me from surviving, on the level of painter, house painter. For years, perhaps 4 or 5 years, I don't own answering machine. I'm putting ads in newspaper, but I don't have answering machine, because in front of my eyes, answering machine was picking up messages and erasing them, and finally broke. I bought a new one. It broke very next day. I'm not exaggerating. Next day. So I knew that they are trying to stop me from getting customers. I bought prepaid cellular phone, and for some reason the answering system on cellular phone worked for long enough to let me establish a group of happy customers. And then, having happy customers, you have a chance to work, have repeat orders or work for their friends, neighbors, because you see what the procedure by perps, we call them perps, what procedure is. They're trying to block you from new customers. They don't want to show, they don't want to give you a proof of doing what they are doing. Therefore, if you have old customer calling and leaving message, they will leave it alone, because they know that maybe by coincidence this old customer will meet you or will walk to your door and knock on the door saying, "Andrew, what's happening? I left a message. I have business for you. Why you are not calling me back?" You know what I mean? So
that's true.
So that's how I established my business, and that's how I'm surviving.